What's going on, everybody? I am the Bad Duck and you are the internet. Welcome back to another video. Today we are talking about Wrestlemania 40. I know I did not do a predictions video. I was sick last week and it's just starting to get over it. And so I'm here to kind of make up for it. In this video, we're going to rank every single Wrestlemania 40 match. All of them, all 13 of those beautiful matches right here, right now. So there's 13 matches on the card. And you might notice on this tier maker, there isn't a bad or an F tier. There's just an okay. So in my opinion, there was 0 bad matches in WrestleMania 40. They were allergic to the concept of a bad match. I don't know what happened in the time period since WrestleMania 39, but they just decided bad matches aren't in our portfolio now. So I'm very excited to talk about each and every single one of these matches, starting with the one who kicked off WrestleMania 40. My favorite superstar, Rhea Ripley versus Becky the Man Lynch. Overall, this match was pretty okay for the most part. I think the biggest issue here was that both Rhea Ripley was under an intense amount of stress because she had a panic attack for 2 straight hours before the match happened, and Becky Lynch had strep throat with 102-degree fever. Neither of these women were pretty okay to set this match, but overall, it was pretty well. It went pretty well. I think that both of these women kicked ass. They did their part. I just don't think they hit the mark that is set for both Rhea Ripley and Becky Lynch. I think that Rhea Ripley hit a little bit higher bar. She's a very good performer no matter what. But I think that Becky Lynch either has lost a step since Payback, because that's the last good match, maybe No Mercy, with Tiffany Stratton. I forgot about that. I forgot that was after Payback, or she's just been really sick over the last few weeks, because Becky Lynch, since the 2024 has hit, hasn't been the same Becky Lynch we saw last year. And Rhea Ripley, like I said, did well. I don't think she did amazing like she did last year with Charlotte Flair, but I think that this match was overall a fun time. I just don't think it's not like a match I'd go back and rewatch over and over again like I would with Charlotte Flair versus Rhea Ripley, but I think it's fine enough, and it sets up Rhea Ripley as still this dominant force in WWE, so I'm going to put this in the okay tier. Moving on, we had the 6-pack ladder match. This was insanity. All 6 teams were kicking ass. They all have. It was this fun, just car crash of a TLC match. The belts were placed 2 separately, so we knew that we were in the belt split, so there was no big surprise with that. Like R-Truth picking one of the belts and just not picking up the other one that we thought may happen. But overall, I'm pretty happy with the victors. I do like Grayson Waller and Austin Theory together. I do like Awesome Truth. Every one of these teams deserved some type of recognition going leaving WrestleMania, whether it be as a top tag team or as champions. And honestly, all of them hit that mark. They showed off. They had the WrestleMania moments. Every team was off the charts. I really, really love this match. There was no one that was just slacking. Everyone was making their part. They were doing what they needed to do, and honestly, you can't ask for much more than that. With the car crash that it was, with the spots there were with JD McDonough fucking just dying after being tossed off the ladder, the amount of insane spots with a broken ladder that they were not supposed to do, honestly, it's going to go into the amazing category. Moving on, we had Don Mysterio and Santos Escobar versus Rey Mysterio and Andrade. They got switched up on SmackDown the night before. Overall, I was pretty disappointed with this match. I didn't really get into it. I thought it was fine for the most part. The best part was Jason Kelsey and Lane Johnson coming out at the end of the match. Don Mysterio did his part, which was the fucking GOAT. Rey Mysterio still won't put over his son because he's a fucking deadbeat. And Andrade did his part more or less, but I think the person who was like to hear most was Santos Escobar, which he did good, and that's the thing with WrestleMania 40. Everyone did good, so I don't think that they hit the mark of a WrestleMania moment type feel. They needed to hit that WrestleMania gear, I guess, and Santos Escobar didn't really hit that. Don Mysterio, I believe, did. Rey Mysterio always is at the gear. Andrade showed off in his first WrestleMania match since whenever. Overall, I think this was a really solid match. I didn't think that this was like terrible, but I thought it was solid enough where it's better than Becky Lynch versus Rhea Ripley, but definitely not a bad match at all. Moving on, we have brother versus brother, the Usos. this match was kind of what I thought it was going to be. It was just super kicks. It was just all the signature moves of the Usos back and forth. It was like playing with Link versus Shadow Link. It was playing against your Shadow character in like a Smash Brothers or a fighting game. And while that is compelling, and it does for some people make a really good match, for some reason the Usos couldn't hit that. This really showed that Jay is much a better former than Jimmy. I was really hoping that this would show that Jimmy has that extra gear to be a single star eventually, but literally he has not shown that. Jay is still the better superstar, especially on a solo run since he left the bloodline. I think that's why they separated Jay and Jimmy, is that they knew that Jay knew what he could do and knew how to gain a feel for the audience, and Jimmy was still lacking that someone, and he still needs the bloodline to continue to carry that on. And overall, this may be the worst match of the weekend, but I still think it was pretty okay. I just think that I think a lot of people had a really high expectations for it. For me, this was just, I knew it was going to be like fighting a Shadow character in a fighting game, and I was okay with 20 million super kicks. We didn't hit that mark, but we had a lot of super kicks, and I was pretty okay with that. And you know what? We're going to go with okay, because that's exactly where it deserves to be. Moving on, we have Jade Cargill, Bianca Belair, and Naomi versus Damage Control, the 6-woman tag. And honestly, this match kicked ass. It was a short match, but overall, I think everyone really hit their mark. Bianca Belair still looks strong. She still holds on to her WrestleMania record. Jade Cargill getting the pin is the most important part here. Continuing to build her as a top star with only having 2 matches under her belt right now. She definitely, or not 3 with the Monday Night Raw. She really does need that boost in the WrestleMania when it does that give it to you, and they're really building her as this basically this aura-filled beast of a character in the WWE. And in my opinion, I think it'd be hilarious to have her beat Goldberg's undefeated record, just so he can be pissed off again that another woman record. That's just me. Anyways, Damage Control really hit their point. Kairi Sane kicked ass. Dakota Kai was, I think, the highlight for Damage Control in particular. She did take the pin, but I think that overall she was the best part of it. Asuka, always automatic wherever she is, and in everything she does. Still completely defeated at WrestleMania. That really makes me mad. I really hope WrestleMania 41 finally gives her win at the Show of the Immortals. I think eventually you have to give it to her, unless they want to really give that bar trivia. It's like, what woman champion has never won at WrestleMania? Being Asuka. And Naomi always kicks ass, and she was great in this. I think that this match was really, really good. I really loved it, and I love Damage Control personally. I'm sad they got pinned, but I understand what they did, and overall, I think that this match was one of the best of night one. But that being said, I'm still going to put it into the good category. Actually, no, I'm going to put it in the great category. It's really on that border between good and great, and I'm going to lean to great just because I love every moment of that match was absolutely fantastic. Moving on, we have Gunther versus Sami Zayn. Basically Rocky versus I can't remember his name, Rocky 4, but that dude. Honestly, I think this is Gunther's best match he's ever had. I think it's better than the Triple Threat match. I think that Triple Threat match last year was not that great. The Clash of the Castle match is really good between him and him and Sheamus. Drew McIntyre had a match that was against Roman Reigns at Clash of the Castle, not against Gunther. But overall, I think that this match is really, really good. I think that having Sami Zayn pull out the Brain Buster is the most important part of this match, just because Gunther is such an unstoppable beast that you have to pull out all the tricks. Something that may be so dangerous and so like out of the pocket that you need to pull out your bag of tricks. And I think that they really showed that here throughout this whole match. That Sami Zayn tried everything he had, all the hula kicks, all the Blue Thunder bombs. He tried at least the Blue Thunder bomb at one point. He pulled out all the stops to beat Gunther, and had to pull out the one final trick that I don't think he's ever had in WWE. I don't think he's ever used the Brain Buster in WWE. I know he did in ROH, but my God, did they fucking cook in this match. I think, again, I said this is Gunther's best match, and I fully mean that. I think Gunther, I don't like Gunther particularly, but I do think he's a decent wrestler. I just think that his matches are very much overrated because they're like technical masterpieces, and like those are good and all, but you have to have some fanfare in your match. You have to have some fun, and Gunther feels devoid of fun. And this match had the fun, adrenaline filled, and I think Sami Zayn really filled that role that you really need in those matches. Gunther has faced plenty of big meaty men. They're good for your big brutal matches, but you need to have some fun in those matches for me to actually enjoy them. And I think a lot of WrestleMania really had those. They didn't just focus on the adrenaline, they focused on having fun and being a little spunky instead of just going straight for a technical masterpiece. And I think that Triple H is finally seeing that with Gunther, that you need to have a little bit of the fun with it. I think that I think about Gunther's defenses in the last few over the last year and a half and whatever, however long it's been, have been when it's been fun. Chad Gable's a ton of fun. Sami Zayn's a ton of fun. Jey Uso's a ton of fun. All those matches are great when you have Gunther can play the straight man in those matches, while those faces can actually have fun with the audience and have fun with what they're doing. I think they're finally realizing that with Gunther, and I'm going to put this into the great category. Finishing off night one was the greatest tag match of them all. Roman Reigns and The Rock versus Seth Rollins and Cody Rhodes, and what a match this was. This wasn't really Roman and Cody's match. They were very pushed off to the side. This is more a Seth versus Rock match, and honestly, I like that. I think The Rock shut up all the haters for saying that he'd be gassed after 5 minutes. He put on like a 45-minute clinic when it came to Seth Rollins and Cody Rhodes. He was involved throughout the whole match. He didn't stop being involved in the match. He wasn't given a massive break. He was the focal point the entire match, and that's what he needed to be, because like you're coming back for the biggest show of them all, and you can't just come here for a cameo, because audience members will see through that. They'll hate it, and I think this is showing that he can have that big match against Roman Reigns at WrestleMania 41, or have that big match against Cody Rhodes at SummerSlam, something along those lines. And I think that Seth Rollins really showed off his acting abilities here and how desperate he was to beat The Rock, to beat Roman Reigns, to secure the future of WWE, and eventually failing Cody Rhodes, his brother in arms, throughout this whole experience. You can see that on Seth Rollins' face. And every moment of this match is not just a wrestling match, it is an experience, it is a story being told, and that both I'm gonna spoil this, but both of the main events filled in that story. They weren't really about the match. They were about the story. They were about the experience. They were about the moment. And sometimes that's good. Sometimes that's bad. And this main event, it was amazing. You needed to make sure it was about the moment. It was about the WrestleMania moment, not just the match. And I think they did it excellently. Amazing. And that's where it's gonna go, into the amazing tier. I want to put it above these two. I'm not like whenever I do the tier rankings, never do like a put it over, but I'm just making sure that everyone knows that I prefer the tag match over the six-pack match. Moving into night two, in my opinion, the better of the nights, which is a reverse from last year, which I'm really glad that we had that. Starting off with Drew McIntyre versus Seth Rollins. What a kick-ass match. They are two men who really know each other and really know how to work with each other, and especially Seth knows how to tell a story in a match without having it become all a story. Like at the end of night one was all a story, and that's okay. This one was telling a story at the same time as it was telling the story of Seth Rollins being so beaten and broken after defending so many times, and also telling the story of Drew McIntyre's ego and jealousy and everything like that. But not focusing on it. It was focusing on the match, but also telling that story at the same time, and I really appreciate that. And with the added CM Punk intervention there, because he was supposed to have that was supposed to be his match against Seth Rollins, adds a little bit more fuel to the fire, and I really do appreciate that. I think that having CM Punk I wanted to be the referee. I was in Chicago when they started asking for me to be the referee. Obviously that didn't happen. Him being on commentary is fantastic. It was a fantastic ad, and it added another layer to this complex story that both Seth Rollins and Drew McIntyre have weaved together over the last few weeks. And for that, I'm going to put it in the great category. The 6-man tag match of the Pride versus the Final Testament in the Philly Street Fight. This either should have gone to Jimmy Uso or someone else. But honestly, I'm okay with it not being part of that. This match cooked. This match was a ton of fun. It was like I said with the 6-pack ladder match, it was just a car crash waiting to happen. And honestly, it was great for that reason. It was just kick-ass. It was kick-ass between 4 of the members. I don't know where AOP went. AOP kind of disappeared throughout half this match and just didn't show back up. It's basically Karrion Kross versus the Pride, and honestly, I'm okay with it. I like Karrion Kross enough where it's like he doesn't ruin the match, and he sold his ass off. Scarlet and Beef have had a few spots, which was cool to have. That little bit, because we didn't have a lot of women's matches. I love women's wrestling, and having that little bit of nugget kind of saved this for me. But honestly, this match was just a ton of fun. It was one of those matches that focuses on the fun of the match rather than the story of the match, and I really do appreciate that. A lot of the matches really mesh that together, but this one was just pure fun, and that's what I love from like Extreme Rules matches and Street Fight matches, whatever you call them. They're just kind of just pure fun, and I really enjoyed that. I'm gonna put this in the good category. I don't think it hit that great mark. I think that if AOP was more involved, that this would have hit that mark, but honestly, it's just good. Moving on, we have AJ Styles versus LA Knight. Why can AJ Styles never cook at Mania? The only two matches I can think of AJ Styles being great at Mania was him versus Shane McMahon and the Undertaker match during the pandemic. That was pre-recorded. So AJ Styles has something with WrestleMania. He can't do it. I don't know why. He does not cook just during WrestleMania. He came out to a heel theme. He's now technically a heel, I think, against LA Knight, and LA Knight was LA Knight. He has been telling all the haters after Crown Jewel were saying he can't wrestle. He's been struggling in the ring, but he can cook on the mic, which was true at the point in time. But since then, with the Royal Rumble and everything, he's just been great. Been great in the ring. He's been awesome, and honestly, he's the one who carried this match, and that's why it's going to go into the solid category. I don't think there's a lot to this match besides LA Knight doing his thing. AJ Styles struggled to come up with anything, and I don't think it's really on him. I just think that for some reason he can't hit that WrestleMania gear. I don't know what it is. We're moving on to the triple threat match for the United States Championship. Kevin Owens, Randy Orton, and Logan Paul. This was the comedy match of the night, I think. While the Pride in the Final Testament was a lot of fun, I don't think there was a lot of comedy involved with it. Logan Paul and Kevin Owens and Randy Orton was just pure comedy. Between Kevin Owens, who was basically a comedy character at this point, and you know what? That's fine by me. Comedy character who kicks ass, awesome. Randy Orton, he's got a little bit of that comedy nerve in him, especially when he's giving Kevin Owens to bounce off of. And Logan Paul is kind of this whole thing where he is kind of the joke. He's the butt end of every joke, and Kevin Owens really leans into that. I think Kevin Owens obviously was the MVP of this match, but overall, this match was a ton of fun. It was just really funny to watch. I'm really glad we had a comedy match to kind of lighten the mood from everything. Because the end of the night really hit that really serious gear, and it really just, I loved it. I think that Logan Paul, as much as he may be a shitty person, is such a great wrestler, and Kevin Owens really helps him out in each and every match they have. And I think we may go back and look at it. Logan Paul and Kevin Owens might be the wrestling soulmates for each other. They're polar opposites, but at the same time, they mesh so fucking well. It's so great. Honestly, I love this match. It's gonna go into the great category. The penultimate match before the main event was Bayley versus Io Sky. I rewatched this match because everyone on Twitter was talking about this should have been the main event. This is an amazing match. I remember being on stream at the Curb Stomp podcast. Follow that, it's awesome. I'm there each and every week for talking about wrestling each and every week with my buddy Caleb. Anyways, I remember being on stream and not really enjoying the match that much. I thought it was good. I just didn't think it was great. I thought it was like, okay, like this should have been the main event. It may be it's pushing it, but I think that obviously it deserved a place on the WrestleMania card. I rewatched it recently, and my God, that match was so much better than what I saw on the stream. I don't know why my brain was like on stream, just not seeing the vision. But Bayley versus Io kicked ass. It was like I said with Seth Rollins and Drew McIntyre, they told the story at the same time as focused on the match. It was a perfect mixture of both. And there's not many people who can do that, and I'm very happy to say that Bayley can indeed do that. She was the one. I think she was definitely the MVP of this match. Io Sky, always great. I don't think she was the MVP, but I think that she did her part perfectly. And honestly, that leads into an amazing match. The to lead us into the main event of night 2, Cody Rhodes versus Roman Reigns. I talked about this in the Curbstone podcast. Again, go watch that. But I was fully expecting the Millennium Rules to be intact, and I was fully expecting this to be the most overbooked mess in the world, and I wanted that. I wanted Stone Cold's music to hit. I wanted John Cena's music to hit. I wanted this to be so fucking overbooked that it made no sense in the end. And somehow they did that, but making complete sense at the same time. While I thought that like we're gonna get interruptions every like 5 minutes throughout the match, we didn't get that. I love that they kind of kept it into one succinct area where everyone kind of had their spot. They gave us like 20 good minutes of wrestling, which were really amazing minutes of wrestling. Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns always kick ass with each other, and then they have this little bit of just interruption after interruption after interruption with Solo Sikoa, with Jimmy Uso coming out, then Jey Uso coming out, then Solo Sikoa trying to help Roman finish the story, which I thought was hilarious at that moment in the ring. To John Cena getting his revenge on Solo Sikoa, and then The Rock coming out to face John Cena thrice in a lifetime, that moment, and then you hear the gong and Undertaker comes out. It was batshit crazy moment, and then Seth Rollins comes out eventually at some point with the Shield music, which I think that a lot of people thought it was Dean Ambrose, which makes no sense, but I think a lot of us were like, oh my god, because they weren't showing who it was. And then everyone goes away after the Undertaker besides Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins starts getting up with and Roman Reigns picks up the chair. He has the choice. Does he retain and protect his championship by beating Cody Rhodes, or does he get revenge on his brother-in-arms from 10 years ago and hit Seth Rollins with the chair? And he couldn't let go of the past, and he hit Seth Rollins, leading to Cody Rhodes being able to get back up, counter the spear, hit 3 crossroads, and finish the story. What a fucking match! If you told someone that whole story, Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, Cody Rhodes, you would think it's a movie. It's such a long-term storytelling in a way that Triple H was able to weave all these ropes together and eventually make this ending to this whole bloodline story, to this Cody Rhodes story, to lead us into the next portion of the story, is amazing. I don't know how Triple H was able to make such a perfect ending, and it led to Cody Rhodes finally finishing the story. I think there's no other place but to put this into the amazing tier. And honestly, WrestleMania 40 was one of the best WrestleManias I've ever watched. I don't think any other WrestleMania has had no bad matches. I think there's been some major duds in WrestleMania, and I think WrestleMania 40 absolutely nailed it. They did not miss with a single match. I'm so happy that I got to experience it over this weekend with all of you on the Curb Stomp YouTube page where we were live, and I'm so happy that we are moving on to the next story where we get to see Cody Rhodes be champion. You'll see the next story from Reigns, who they say is going to be better. To see where Seth Rollins goes from here when he comes back. There's so many pieces to this puzzle, and I'm very excited to get into it whenever we can. And I'm just over the moon with how WrestleMania 40 turned out. But that's gonna be all from me, guys. Thank you guys for watching. Remember to subscribe, like the video if you want. And tell me how you guys feel about WrestleMania 40. Did you actually think there were some duds? Did you think it was as amazing as I did? Let me know in the comments below. And until then, bye-bye.